Hey everybody, it's Amanda Kate, part of your Lightworker support team, and this is the Q&A for March 2023. Got a few good questions here today. If you have a question you would like a channeled answer to, I try to remember to post at the first of the month on my community tab in my community tab in YouTube, a call for questions, and where else? On Patreon, also a call for questions for my Patreon patrons. If you put a question in one of those two places, I will try my best to answer it. Otherwise, if you post them on a video, they get lost. I know for a fact that I've forgotten a few because I went back to try to find where they were and I didn't remember which video somebody asked. Anyway, so I'm going to go get in state and we'll get started. Okay, this question is from Webb. So many I know are struggling with low energy, dissatisfaction, and disinterest in anything. Could it be worldly energy and influence, or is it really just personal? I'll give my answer for all of these, and then I'll channel also, but just from experience and from talking to other light workers, I know that when the energy of the collective is not so great, then light workers can also feel that, especially if you're at a place in your life where you feel like everything's going really well and you should wake up one day and you just feel really not right, like you're really off, you don't feel happy, and you're like, and you can't find a reason for it. That's the thing. When that happens to me, I know like this is something in the collective. And if it's a really strong feeling, then I know it's a big event probably coming. Or it's either a big event or it's a negative event really close to where I live. Not necessarily having to do with me. I don't see those usually. Like they shield me from knowing about bad things that are going to happen to me or my family, because I don't know why. I guess they're experiences we need to have. But anyway, yeah, and I want to say also from a practical point of view that we just have so many distractions and life is just so fast. Time is just so fast right now. So it's really easy to hit burnout just from your everyday life because, prior to the internet, people had to like write letters and make phone calls and everything was more slow. And even like before phones, everything was even slower and letters took longer to get to people and business took longer. And so the pace of life was much slower. So now, you can do 57 things in like 3 minutes. And that really drains, and I don't know about you, but it drains me. It drains me of my energy a lot. Ooh, 111. I just looked at the clock. Yeah. So part of it is just the nature of the world and the way things are right now. And that, I think, is why the Arcturians are always saying, the Arcturians and every other, benevolent group is like, meditate, close your eyes, breathe, clear all that junk out just for a minute, or just for a minute every so often throughout the day. All right, so let me check in and see what our collective consciousness, what our guides say. And in this case, they're the Arcturians. All right. We would say there are manifold reasons for this, beginning with the fact that you are all focusing intently on clearing within yourself that which does not align with who you really are. When you do this, it can feel draining. And having the cleared particles, we would say, in your field can feel to you like a depression or a low. And so we would suggest that as you are clearing, as you are having these realizations of things that do not belong in your thought processes, do not belong in your subconscious, in your higher consciousnesses, in your field, when you realize these things don't belong and they don't align with you, make a conscious decision to return them to Source or the All or God. Make sure they leave your field. This will help you not feel the residual effects of the clearings that you are accomplishing. Because we can see that if you feel bad every time you clear a negative belief or an untrue belief, we would say, you are less likely to attempt to clear those beliefs. And so we think if you set the intention to clear these from your field as they leave your physical body and your neural programming, you will feel much lighter and you will be able to do more. Okay, I guess that's just extra in addition to what I said. Okay, from Visual Thinker. As our bodies continue to be upgraded and more crystalline, could this be the reason why there are so many more allergies amongst the collective? Is it because our bodies are rejecting substances in order to cleanse it and keep it pure? For example, I have a pretty clean diet and try to eat mostly all organic. I also am not on any medications, but I had an instance where I had to take antibiotics and my body rejected all the different antibiotics they tried to put me on. Was it my body just trying to stay pure? I'm not the only one that this is happening to, so I wonder what the great multiverse has to say about this. This happens to me too. Medicines have a really strong effect on me, and so when they try to give me like a strong antibiotic, my body just like says, no, that's too much. I can't do that. And I will just say about allergies from a human everyday perspective. When I was taking my hypnotherapy course, gosh, I wish I could remember the guy's name. Dave something. Don't remember. I'm not very good with remembering details like that. Anyway, famous hypnotist said that allergies all seem to stem from not being able to express yourself, especially when you're young, which is interesting. But what I'm getting right now is it's like this censorship and anti-censorship whole thing. It's like you want to speak out about what you believe in, but like everybody's conflicted, because if you say how you feel, you're going to alienate half the people you know, because we're that polarized right now. But if we don't, then we feel restricted. Like there's stuff I can't talk about. So I feel that a lot of the allergy problem is all of us trying to figure out how to speak from our heart and having trouble with that, I guess. Having trouble processing that. I always want to rebel against the idea that what you put in your body makes you like more or less of a higher frequency being. Because, like the first channels like Edgar, well, I'm sure they're not the first channels, but the first well-known channels like Edgar Casey, he smoked cigars, I think, or cigarettes, and then Jane Roberts she had to drink a beer to channel. Like, that's what I read in her book anyway, one of her books. So, but having said that, like, I do feel like the energetic here has really lightened up since then. And I do have to admit that when I eat cleaner and drink lots of water, it is way easier for me to get messages through. And they're I don't know, they seem more profound to me. Like when I channel, it's like you receive the message, but it also at the same time feels like you already knew that. So even if it's a brand new message you've never heard, because it comes in through your mind, it's like, I already knew that. That doesn't seem like anything new. But when I'm feeling really healthy and I'm super hydrated and I've eaten like lots of vegetables and fruit and I haven't had like sugar and bubble gum and whatever, chocolate or whatever, then I feel like I'm sort of epiphany level in my receiving of messages, for myself anyway. Anyway, so let's see what they say. So is it because of our physical upgrades that we're not able to take medicines and stuff like that? I think that's the question. We'll see what they say. I have had lots of water today, just so you know. There is a pervasive feeling in the collective that pharmaceuticals are created by those who wish ill to those they manufacture for. There is also the prevailing thought that when animals are treated inhumanely, the energy of that treatment lingers in the animal, and when people consume it, they receive the energy as well. And there is the thought that those who are caretakers to those animals do not care about the animals. And this happens in many different areas for things that you consume. But we would say, if you changed your perspective, if you changed your belief to the understanding that there are those in those industries who are acting for the highest good, who are infusing the medications with healing, so that no matter what the intention of the higher ups, you would say, was, the medication is beneficial. And you can do this on your own as well. When you receive a medication that is required for your physical body's health or maintenance or recovery, you can infuse it yourself with a pure energy of healing. You can ask your friends and your loved ones to do this for you as well. Infuse your medications with healing so that they become effective no matter what the medication is and no matter what it was originally designed to do. You have the power within yourself to heal yourself. However, in the collective, this is not a prevailing belief. And so until it is a belief that the collective majority accepts, you will have to work at an individual level to make these changes for your own personal benefit. You can do this with food as well. And you can do this with, you can enhance the nutritional value of even the most nutritious of foods as well. You probably already, stop. Okay, they're trying to say, like, you probably already know. Sorry, it comes through so fast sometimes. It's hard to piece it out. They're reminding me of the, what's that guy's name? The water guy, the guy that did the experiments of water, where he said, like, you know, I hate you to this water, and then he froze it. And when you look at it under a microscope, it's like, ugh, it looks gross and distorted. But the ones that he said, you know, somebody said, I love you to, were just like beautiful crystalline things. So they're saying there's, you know, we have the power in that. But because we don't tell ourselves, like, I love you, you know, to our physical vessels, we believe that has to come from only eating the nutritious food that is grown by the most loving people. And, you know, we can't take pharmaceuticals because Big Pharma is bad. And I'm not saying they're not bad, because there's a lot of bad in Big Pharma and big food, GMOs, whatever. But we have the power to just create, you know, our best selves. And going back to, like, the world is so busy, do we take time to do that? We don't. I know I don't. Like, if we would, you know, set up some routines for ourselves where we, you know, I guess you could say bless our food, where we, like, energize our food, our medicine, our water, ourselves, you know, like with messages, then I think that's what they're trying to say. That they're always, you know, reminding us that we are the creators and we have the power. So, all right. Let's see what else here. Marco says, my question is, when is the tyranny going to end? When is all the tyranny going to end? Marco's pissed. Are we going to... I get it. Are we going to live out the rest of our lives under this BS? Thanks. Okay. Arcturians are going to give Marco an awesome message right now because he needs some support. And everybody, please send some love and support to Marco. Sounds like he's having a hard time. And I get it. There is a lot of tyranny going on in the world. There's war. We hate that. We don't like the war and the conflicts that are going on all over the world. There was just an earthquake, I think, in Pakistan I just saw. So, you know, we need to send love to them. But let's give me a message for the Lightworkers that are fed up and they're just like, are we ever going to get out of this mess? Are we ever going to, is it going to get better in our lifetime? And can it please be soon? Dear one, we can see that many of you are very tired. The ones of you who are the most frustrated are the ones who have been fighting the good fight for quite a long while. And what we mean by that is you have not only had multiple lifetimes on Earth attempting to raise the vibration. We would liken it to walking through waist-high mud. It is extremely difficult and extremely tiring, and feels at times extremely hopeless. But we would remind you that every beautiful thought you have, every beautiful hope you have, adds to the positive polarity, the positive vibrations, and the beauty on the planet, in the collective. We understand the difficulty in being positive when you look around and the world outside you does not seem positive at all. Your personal life may not seem positive. And at those times we ask that you ask for help from your guides, your angels, from us, from all the collectives and all the beings who are standing by and ready to help and to serve you in the best way possible. Please remember to ask. This is a free will planet, and those who are ready to help cannot help unless it is requested. And we suggest that when you make your request, you request a lightening of frequency for yourself in the easiest way possible and the quickest way possible. We can see that many of you have done similar work, we would say, on other planets. We could say on other dimensions. And that is why you're here. And one of the reasons why you're frustrated is because you know what a beautiful, positive outcome looks like. You've experienced it. You've created it elsewhere. And we know it is seeming to take a lot longer here. This is a much more difficult, much denser planet than the ones you have previously helped ascend. And so, dear one, please call on your other dimensional friends for help to clear a path in your life and to help you help the collective from within the Earth collective energy. Okay, hope that helps. I know they still didn't say when it's going to end. I think when it's going to end is when we all start getting along and be nice to each other. When we all start understanding that not everybody is the same as us. Like, look on the other side of the world. Look at some religion that you don't agree with. Look at some spiritual belief you don't agree with. And understand, people come to their own realizations. They have their own experiences and their own beliefs. And, aside from, people killing other people, there's an amount of acceptance that needs to happen. Not acceptance of people killing other people and hurting people on purpose. That's not okay. But to me, that's negative polarity. And what you can do with negative polarity is think and feel of the highest love possible and just send it like a beam to the negative. Just love it into non-existence. Like, that's all. That's what negative polarity can't tolerate, is love. I'm not saying love the bad things that negative polarity is doing, but the being itself, or I guess it's not necessarily a being. It's like, light gets rid of darkness. So if you understand that, like, a negative polarity entity, being, or energy is trying to maintain its negative polarity into the next density, and eventually it's going to give up, but it doesn't right now it's just trying its hardest to be negative. I'm going to maintain negative polarity and I'm going to be a negative entity into the next, stage or whatever. So it's trying really hard to do that. And the problem, not with that, not only is, you can't, source is not negative. So eventually it's going to have to flip, flip to positive. But the only thing it takes to dissolve that negative energy is positive energy. That's it. So you just go to this, you don't go to the events that are happening that are bad and try to send love. Well, you can. You can try to send love around the situations. But if you take the source of light energy from yourself and you give it you just love that negative entity energy, it can't exist. I don't know how to explain that any better, but it works, I don't know. I think Ra described it in the Law of One books. I feel like that's where I got the idea to just love it into non-existence. And I think the Arcturians have said something about it being a job hazard for the dark, that it's drawn to the light because the light's the only thing that can destroy it, or I hate to say destroy, dissolve it. So anyway, all right, last one. Rebecca, I have heard some people saying that colors are getting brighter. Is this happening, and if so, why? When I first read this, I was reminded of my early channeling days, and also after I had that experience where I asked what Ascension felt like, and they showed me, and I was crying and laughing at the same time, and it was just this insane expansive feeling that I guess I could only maintain it for a few seconds, but it was huge. And after that, everything was so freaking amazing. Literally the colors, I couldn't believe. I was just sure that everything was changing. I could look at one of my kids and just be like, has there ever been a being that's so amazing as this, or my friends, or just dumb things, looking at a drop of dew on a flower or something, and just everything's so amazing. And I think that when you first awaken, and we have so many more people awakening now, that happens. You have these spiritual experiences, and then you finally can see things for what they really are, because the rest of the time before we woke up, we're just going through it. We didn't even notice the leaves changing color. We didn't even notice that dewdrop on the plants, or that the clouds in the sky are really amazing today, or whatever. So I think that's it. But let me still ask, because that's why we're here, and we'll see if they have anything to add to that. As the density moves in your vicinity on Earth there, as the Earth moves through, your solar system moves through a different area of space, there is a shift happening, and you will notice changes. We would say that the colors that people are experiencing are an indication that Ascension is progressing, because there are many more colors, sounds, and physical experiences to be had than what you have had access to before. It has been a slower process than we know you enjoy, but it will continue. And you can look forward to more experiences like these. We would say an experience you can look for is hearing what we would call the music of nature. And so as time goes by, as you say, you will begin to notice more and more interesting things that were not previously available on Earth, but that are available in what you call the higher realms and other dimensions. We hope this helps you, and we thank you. Cool. Music of nature? Is that what they said? Wow. Okay. Anyway, well, that's all of the questions for this month. Like I said, if you have a question, if you're in my Patreon group, I will, you guys, if I forget to put up a call for questions, you can always send me a message and say, hey, where's my call for questions? But I will try to have that up always on the first of the month. And then I try to do the Q&As around the 15th. This week this month it just worked out because spring break is this week, and so it's just easier to do this week. But usually I try to do them around the 15th. So if you have a question, Patreon group, call for questions, or also YouTube community tab, I put up a call for questions and you can put your questions there. So, and please ask me questions, because I love doing these. All right, you guys have a great rest of the month. I'll be back with my weekly channeling next week. Much love. Bye.